Well, hello, everybody. This is Carolyn Morgan. I just wanted to say I hope everybody's having a great day, and thank you for joining us. Today, we are going to be talking about a registry revision, which involves the addition of Rivaroxaban or Xarelto into the registry as a data element. I just want to remind everybody that this webinar includes attendees from a lot of different centers and is being recorded for internal quality purposes. All attendee lines are muted. We encourage you to submit any webinar related questions throughout the presentation into the question and answer feature, which can be accessed from your Zoom menu. If we're unable to answer a question today, we will reach out to you and follow up with you later. These slides and recordings will be posted in the Pathways Resources tab for your reference. So you asked and we listened. We heard multiple times that people said they wanted to have registry webinars with revisions, and so this is why we are presenting this webinar. And just remember that you can always find these recordings on the Pathways Support at 50s.com website. So why are we making changes and why are we adding Rivaroxaban to the registry? Well, there is a study out called the Voyager PAD study that showed that Rivaroxaban and aspirin had a superior effect to aspirin alone on preventing major adverse limb and cardiovascular events. I mean, to the point where there was a 2.6% risk reduction in cardiovascular death, acute limb ischemia, major amputation, MI, or stroke as compared with a placebo and aspirin at 3 years. So that is the rationale as to why we made the changes to the registry. Now, on August 23rd, an announcement went out to all of the people that are enrolled in the PVI registry, the infrainguinal registry, the suprainguinal registry, and the vascular medicine registry, stating that on October 24th, there will be an update to the forms adding aspirin and Rivaroxaban fields. What do they look like? Well, let's take a look. So and we're going to be doing a live demo after I get through these slides. So the new dose or the new fields are going to include dose and frequency fields. So within PVI, infra, and super registries, because it's already built into the vascular medicine registries, they will have been updated to include new dose and frequency fields for aspirin and Rivaroxaban to the procedure forms under the demographic tab, the post-op tabs, as well as long-term follow-up forms. And the layout of the medication selection in these regions will be modified, as you can see in the screenshots below. We also added a new field in the long-term follow-up. It is called new bleeding complication. And this field will be included in long-term follow-up forms for PVI, infrainguinal, suprainguinal, and VMC. It is any bleeding complication. And your select options will be none, mild, moderate, severe, or fatal, with the associated help text. Now, bear with me as I stop sharing this screen and I share another, let's see here. I'm going to go into the user interface and we're going to do a live demo. So I am demoing this right now in our PVI registry. And right now, as you can see, we are in the demographic information. So under the pre-procedure medications, if I click on aspirin and we say yes, you're going to be asked the dose of aspirin. And then the help text will say the total daily dose of aspirin. And if you are to select the closest dose, if your exact dose is not listed. For instance, those in Canada 100 milligrams is offered in Canada, but it is not offered in the United States. If you select pre-chronic anticoagulation and you say factor 10A inhibitor, your pre-Rivaroxaban will auto-populate. You will say yes or no. If you say yes, more fields will pre-populate. You will select the appropriate dose that they're currently taking, as well as the dosing frequency. The post-op tab functions the same if the patient was discharged on aspirin or if the patient was discharged on Rivaroxaban. You say yes, and then the fields will pre-populate. Now give me a moment. I'm going to go into a long-term follow-up form, and I will demonstrate to you what the bleeding data field looks like. And just as we're waiting for this to load, remember all of this data in our demonstration is fictitious. It's all made up data, so I am not releasing or providing any true data. So if we go into, again, the aspirin, we say yes, it pre-populates. The same thing with our chronic anticoagulant. If you say yes, it'll pre-populate. And then you will see down here, I think you can see what is highlighted in red, any bleeding complication. And this is defined as any type of bleeding complication, anything, GI bleed, heavier than normal menses, any type of bleeding complication from discharge from the index procedure until your long-term follow-up visit, and then you will select none, mild, moderate, severe, or fatal. So with that, that's the end of our webinar, and we will open up the, we'll have Melissa start reading us some questions and answers, or questions, excuse me, and I'll provide answers.
So there's only one question so far, and the question is, why is it only Xarelto that we've added?
Okay, so well, some of you may not know this, a lot may not know this, but within our vascular medicine registry, we collect a lot of different dosing for different medications, and there has been interest by our executive committees and governing councils to increase dosing to some more of our registries. With that being said, I'm going to give you a preview or sneak peek to let you know that chronic anticoagulation across all of our arterial registries is in the process of being harmonized so that every single data field for our arterial registries that capture chronic anticoagulation will be harmonized. With that, we will be asking for some dosing of other medications, specifically the dual or oral anticoagulants like your Plavixes and things like that. Not Plavix, but some of your others. And then we will also be adding just drop downs whether or not the patient was discharged on an injectable anticoagulant. But in the very near future, as soon as we can get it through development and get it through testing, we will be harmonizing our chronic anticoagulants across all registries as requested by the executive boards and our committee chairs.
Okay, I'm going to combine, we have a couple questions that are on the same topic. I'm going to combine all of them. The question is it bleeding from any cause or just procedural related bleeding? And can we update the data definition help text to reflect the correct answer?
Sure, it is bleeding of any cause, and I can definitely update the help text to include that. But it is any cause of bleeding. It doesn't need to be related to the procedure.
Okay. And then will this affect, adding Xarelto, will this affect the reports for medication compliance since its antiplatelet plus statin report did not have prior dosing?
Not at this time, it will not. But it could be in the future, but as of now, the answer is no.
Can you go back to the rationale in the original slide so someone could just take a note if you have a chance?
Sure. So I think I accidentally.
That's okay. We can we'll send that, we'll post
No,
the
no, no.
slides.
I can get
we
it
can.
here. If you give me just 1 second. I got click happy and I clicked out of the slides, so I apologize, but just give me a second. I don't know why. My computer is acting up.
I know, I was impressed that you could get back to it that quickly. Mine is it's a little slow today.
Here you go. And if you do a search on the internet using Voyager PAD study, you'll be able to read the whole study.
Yeah, there's additional questions on the study, and I would suggest people review the study if for questions related to their outcomes.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, there's additional ones in here. I'm not going to read them. We're just going to suggest people read the study. Is there any reason there is no reference made to hemoglobin levels when defining bleeding complication in the help text?
So someone could have a bleeding complication at 3 months and then at long-term follow-up. They could also, as a lot of you are aware, have just a mention of a bleeding complication in the physician note, but you might not have any reference to getting a hemoglobin. So in an effort to be parsimonious and not add data variables that will be hard to collect, I mean, you might be able to find a hemoglobin in there, but it might not have anything to do with the bleeding event. So because it might not be helpful information or useful information, we decided not, or the committees decided not to add hemoglobin.
Okay, there's some additional questions not related to this presentation. We will send responses to these all offline. And then again, some more questions on if this study showed, if this combination showed better than other combinations during the study. Again, I would suggest everyone please review the study for themselves if you have questions on that. Here's a question. Will VQI create a shared report of patients on the low dose Xarelto to easily track outcomes, or should we create our own custom report?
For right now, I'd encourage you to create your own custom report, but more to come on that. If we see a lot of people or a lot of questions coming through on that, I'm sure that this is something that we could ask as an enhancement.
So there are other factor XA drugs. Is Xarelto the only one that will have the additional breakout details?
For right now, yes, this is the only one until we end up doing the harmonization of all the chronic anticoagulants across all the arterial registries. This is the only one at this time.
So there's a question about, will this be added to all the registries? There is an attempt to harmonize all the anticoagulation therapies across all registries that it applies to.
Yes, this will be harmonized across all registries. All registries will look the same. All the arterial registries will look the same with the ask for dosing and the ask for frequency when the harmonization of chronic anticoagulation across all of the arterial registries goes into production.
And with that, that is all the questions that are in our Q&A box. If anyone has another question, we'll give it a minute to see if there are any other questions. There is a thank you, Carolyn, for you doing this. This is a great presentation, and it really was presented very nicely.
Thank you very much. And you know, I worry about webinar fatigue. Honestly, I do. But if we can keep, you know, these short and quick, some of them will be longer. Like when we do our infra super revisions, that will definitely be longer. But if we can keep them short and quick and to the point, we'll find out. Hopefully they will be beneficial and help everybody a lot. So thank you for the positive words. I appreciate it.
And we had no new questions.
Well, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy your holiday weekend, relax, enjoy your time off, and we'll be talking to you soon. Thank you.